Hey, I'm Rochelle. I'm the beauty and the comedic relief.
And I'm Bridget, the brains of the operation.
Come with us across Alberta where we show you some of the best people and places.
There might be some mess ups and dumb jokes along the way, but we promise it'll be a lot of fun.
My name's Ryan Abel.
And what do you do?
I'm a director and volunteer pilot for Angel Flight Alberta.
And so tell us a bit about yourself.
So I've been flying since I was 14. You can do that in Canada. You can get a student pilot permit when you're 14 years old. You can't drive a car yet by yourself, most places, right? But you can solo an airplane. And so I was lucky enough to be able to do that when I was pretty young, and then just sort of kept it up as I went. Have a commercial pilot's license, have a flight instructor rating, so do some flight instruction on the side, and try and spend lots of time helping Angel Flight Alberta.
So is it still 14?
Yep.
That's insane. That's actually very scary.
Yeah.
But what made you want to get your pilot's license?
Ever since I can remember, I wanted to, either go fly for the airlines or be a helicopter pilot for a job. So that was pretty much it. The story I was told when I was pretty young was my brother was told me to watch me in the Vancouver airport. And I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4, we were headed somewhere, and my mom turned around and was like, hey, where's Ryan? And it's like, I don't know. And they found me staring out a window at a plane.
Aww.
So that's sort of the story that I get told. I don't remember that, but yeah.
And so do you know anyone who flies planes, or it just kind of came out of the blue?
I'm trying to think. Some family friends, every once in a while, there'd be somebody that did, or a neighbor had a plane at one point, just a small plane. And so, got to do some short flights when I was younger, in airplanes and a couple of helicopters and stuff. So got the bug pretty early and just sort of kept up with it.
Yeah. So how long have you been flying?
Just over 20 years now, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And so do you just fly like planes, or do you fly helicopters as well?
Yeah, just airplanes. I'd love to fly helicopters, but it's way more expensive to get into. I think a commercial license in a helicopter is about 100 hours of flight time, and today that'll probably cost you like 60 to 70 grand. So, and that just gives you that 100 hours, so not a whole lot of experience, right, to go and get hired. But yeah, so I've got a license for airplanes, maybe one day a license for helicopters.
And is there an obstacle that you face while flying?
While flying, not necessarily an obstacle, but every day is different. The aircraft is always different in terms of what you've loaded, how much fuel. So you're always sort of improvising to some extent, right? Like everything's a little bit different. Of course, you've got lots of procedures.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun of flying, right? Is you've got a great amount of freedom, but you've also got this, level of everything's a little bit different, and so you're always learning. It's always, somewhat of a new experience, right?
Yeah.
Each flight, so keeps it really interesting and challenging for sure.
And so is there a flight that you had that's very memorable, whether good or bad?
I've done several Angel flights now, and I think, each one of them is pretty memorable just because, while you're flying, you're typically talking with the individual, during the cruise portion of the flight, and, they're usually sharing what their story's been like and, the challenges and how having the flight through Angel Flight Alberta really helps them. And so, I can remember all of those different stories, and a lot of situations here in Fort McMurray where people were medevaced out, and then they don't have a way to get back easily, because now it's not an emergency to get back home. And so we've helped out with a lot of sort of repatriation flights to bring people back into Fort McMurray, and I've flown a few of those. And so, you can start to see little gaps in the healthcare system, right, when you're this far north, and it's a 5-hour drive, and maybe a medevac could fly them home, but then you're using a medevac to just basically transport a stable, healthy person back, which maybe isn't the best use of a medevac. And, it's a relatively small hospital here in Fort McMurray, so it's always packed. And so even if they flew somebody back, they've got to have a bed to go to be discharged from the hospital. So if the hospital doesn't have any beds, medevac, even if it was available, can't really fly somebody back and just leave them at the airport. So there's a whole, system of steps that has to be put in place to bring somebody back through the healthcare system. So we've been, able to help out in a lot of those situations just to get people home. There's been some flights where we've done taking like a mom and daughter down to Calgary through Angel Flight Alberta, and it's like, you know, you have to take a few people, they've got to go a long distance, it's winter time. And so that's one of the great things about Angel Flight Alberta is there's a network of pilots, different types of aircraft, you know, so we can usually do a pretty good job finding the right aircraft for a given mission. And so really rewarding that way, even if I'm not the one flying the plane, just, you know, helping the organization find the right pilot and aircraft for a given mission. So
and so what made you want to kind of start or bring Angel Flight to Alberta?
Well, so Angel Flight Alberta was started by an Edmonton physician, Dr. Kerry Paluski. And so he started the organization, and it was just, you know, a few years ago now that being involved as just a volunteer pilot, they were like, hey, would you like to be on the board? And that's how I got involved. But the organization was started several years ago by Kerry, you know, with some others. And so, you know, most of them are still with Angel Flight Alberta. And so it's a great group of guys to, you know, participate in the process and help people out with general aviation, you know, as the tool to get people to and from. Most of the time we're going from like rural Alberta into Edmonton or Calgary to get people to where the specialists are, and then getting them back home again as well. So lots of fun and very rewarding.
And so when did you learn about Angel Flight?
Trying to think. I mean, I've heard of different Angel Flight organizations around the world. There's lots of pretty, you know, well-known ones that have been around for a long time. And so just sort of a quick Google, hey, does Alberta have an Angel Flight organization? And Angel Flight Alberta pops up pretty quickly. And so, just getting in touch with them. I used to own a 2-seat aircraft, which is a little slower, meant for like off-airport, short takeoff and landing. And so it would take like 2.5 hours to get to Edmonton. This takes an hour and 20 minutes. And so, you know, and I could only take one passenger in that, so not super conducive to Angel Flight missions. And so we had a son back in 2020, and I was like, well, we needed one extra seat at least. So sold that and bought the aircraft behind me.
Well, congratulations on your son. What's the best part of flying for Angel Flight?
I think it's just, you know, seeing that people really do need some supports with the logistics of getting to and from sometimes. And, you know, up here, taking a 5-hour drive and being able to, you know, make that an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes. You really see the value of general aviation and being able to use aircraft. And it's like, you know, you spend all that time and effort going, getting a pilot's license, keeping up the skills, and then just being able to put those skills to good use helping people. You know, it's really rewarding for sure. And you're getting to fly at the same time, so it's hard to beat.
Something you enjoy, and so why do you think it's important to have Angel Flight anywhere in the world?
I mean, I think, you know, the Angel Flight networks, whether it's here in Alberta or elsewhere, they fill a niche where there's often this gap in the healthcare system, right? Like a medevac can take you that long distance. If it's an emergency situation, you know, you need specialists on board to help with the transportation, right? If somebody's not 100% stable. And so, you know, those examples of, well, if that person now gets the treatment they need and they need to get back home, if they don't have, you know, an easy way to do that, you know, we can help really with the logistics of bringing people back home in those situations. And then there's lots of situations where somebody just needs to get to a specialist appointment, and that specialist doesn't exist in the rural community. So they have to go to Edmonton or Calgary, right? And so we do a lot of that, you know, taking people from rural Alberta into the cities where the specialists really are, and then getting them back home. And so when you're talking about a 5-hour drive one way from Fort McMurray to Edmonton, you know, that's 10 hours round trip. We can do that in the same day, right? Like we can get somebody down for their appointment, get them there, get them back, and, you know, if we're out in the morning, we're home by dinner time for them. So for a lot of folks up here, especially where, you know, maybe they work shift work, or maybe it's just, hey, I can't afford to take multiple days off, plus the cost of lodging and everything else, and the price of gas, right, these days. So we can really help take a lot of the burden off of those individuals and just make it easier for them to access the specialty care they might need, or the diagnostics, right? Like, you know, special imaging and stuff like that doesn't exist in a lot of rural communities in Alberta. So lots of different scenarios where just creating that easier access to the healthcare system that all Albertans should have access to, and just removing some of those, you know, transportation barriers essentially.
And so I just want to kind of make it clear for everyone, you don't need to have any medical experience to fly, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. So as an Angel Flight Alberta volunteer pilot, it's our job to make sure the plane's ready to go, make sure the passengers have what they need, the flight's planned, and basically get the individuals to and from the destination, or sometimes it's just to, like you might, because of whatever the appointment is, you might just be flying one leg to get them there, or you might just be flying one leg to get them back, right? It's all volunteer. And so every circumstance is different. And, sometimes it's parents and an infant, or, it's just, one person, or, mom and a younger kid, right? So lots of different scenarios where we can sort of tailor the aircraft and the pilot to suit the mission. But yeah, you don't need any medical experience because it's all non-emergency stuff. So people have to be stable enough, they've got to be able to get in and out of the plane essentially by themselves, right? And if they can't, then we try and find a plane that is easy to get them in and out with some assistance, right? Yeah. So yeah, definitely don't need medical experience, but it's good that Angel Flight Alberta has somebody like Carrie, who is a physician in Edmonton, and he can interact with medical professionals if he needs to help out an individual, be able to navigate, hey, can I get an appointment at this time because I know the plane's going to be available with the pilot at that time, or the weather's better, for that window. So definitely helps to have those folks involved with the organization, but it doesn't have to be the pilot.
And so, I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but it's pretty smoky here. How is it with the wildfires, like flying? And
yeah, this summer's been a real challenge, for some of the flights. We've had requests come in from, northern Alberta, and if it's this bad, like you see it now, it's getting a little bit better, but a lot of pilots might decide, because the smoke is unpredictable, it's hard to forecast, they're not going to risk, themselves and the patient that might be requesting the flight. And so, we've had a number of flights where it's just like, we can't safely do it, right? We can't guarantee that it's going to be a safe flight, so then we can't commit to it. So yeah, it certainly is nicer when the smoke's not around.
So volunteering. What does it look like for the pilots? What does it look like for the people on the ground? Can you explain that to us a bit? Yeah,
you bet. So always looking for volunteer pilots. Certainly coming out of COVID, lots of pilots it just ended up not flying as much, or having to do other things. And so always looking for volunteer pilots, because we're always looking for a variety of aircraft as well, right, to suit different mission needs. So, you can go onto the Alberta, Angel Flight Alberta website and go to the volunteer section and sign up that way, and, we'll get an email and we'll contact you. And then also always looking for, ground support volunteers. So Angel Flight Alberta keeps a little van at the Villeneuve Airport, which is on the northwest of Edmonton. Yeah. And so that can be used for people if, the pilot either drives them to or from, or if the individual, wants to drive the vehicle to or from, that can be arranged. But then if somebody needs some ground transportation support, and the pilot can't or they can't, then we're always looking for volunteers like that can support with the missions on the ground at either end of a flight to help get the patient to or from the airport. And then whether we're doing fundraising events or promotional stuff, there's always a variety of things going on that people can volunteer for, and we always appreciate the volunteer support because sometimes it gets pretty busy.
Yeah. And so do you guys need to keep in contact with like radio support online, on the ground?
Yeah, so through text message and group chats, things like that. We've got a flight coordinator that arranges all the flights. They see a request come in, they make sure all the information's there, then they put it out to the pilots. All the pilots get notified through text and email that, hey, a flight's available, and if you're able to take it, then you just sort of volunteer and claim that flight essentially.
So you don't need, sorry to interrupt, you don't need any radio license for that?
On the ground?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, any radio work that's happening in the plane is between, aircraft to aircraft, or aircraft to air traffic control or something like that. So the passengers don't have to worry about any of that part. Yeah. The pilot takes care of all of that.
So do you guys kind of work around the patient schedule, or do you guys have a schedule that you work around?
Yeah. So usually what happens is an individual wanting to request an Angel flight, they'll put in that request through our website. Our flight coordinator gets that, reviews that all the information's there, and then that request goes out to all of our pilots through text and email. And then, whoever's got the right plane, has the availability, will sort of put up their hand, claim the flight, and so it's really all driven by the patient's need. And then, the more notice we have, the more likely it is we can fulfill a given mission.
Yeah.
So if a week's notice or more is great. That gives us lots of time, that if we have to target a specific aircraft to do a mission, then that's a lot easier to do if we have the time, right?
Yeah.
Requests that come in sort of 24 or 48 hours are a lot more challenging at times, depending on where they're going from and to, and if weather is going to be a problem. So that's one of the other things that we'll do, is look at if there's bad weather issues, what might be a better day, and we can try and work with the patient to see, if that better weather day that sort of guarantees the flight is an easier option, especially in the winter time. Things get a little more challenging in the winter, right?
100%, yeah. And so do you get a lot of people kind of giving you like 48, 28 hour notice? It
happens sometimes, but I would say the majority of our requests are probably a week or more, which is good, because we want to fulfill the requests that come in. We know there's a need out there, and so it's helpful when people definitely give us a good amount of notice, and we can have the best chance of fulfilling those flights.
And so this is kind of going back to something that you said earlier. You said that helicopters, you need a different license.
Yeah.
Could you maybe go a bit more into that?
Sure. So airplanes, to get a license for an airplane, like a commercial license in an airplane, is 200 hours that you need. A commercial license in a helicopter is 100 hours. And every helicopter basically has a type certificate that you need to be able to fly that helicopter as pilot in command. Whereas airplanes, there's certain categories of airplanes that, when you get a license, it's like you can actually fly, all 5 or 6 of these planes. And it just sort of comes down to insurance requirements, maybe on how much experience you have. It's always a good idea to go get some training on the specific airplane if it's new to you. But when it comes to helicopters, Transport Canada and insurance companies are very specific about having a good amount of training and qualified training on each type of helicopter. Helicopters are a lot more unstable, and so they all have very different handling characteristics. And so really important to have good training for helicopters, because they're so unstable that it's like standing on a ball with another ball on your head and a plate on top of that. Standing on one foot, that's like hovering a helicopter, right? It's very challenging. It's a working airport.
So
that'd be one of the aircraft probably headed up to Fort Chip.
Sorry, going where?
Up to Fort Chip, probably. The whole community's still evacuated from Fort Chip, so they flew everybody out about a week and a half ago. I think the one day McMurray Aviation flew 137 people or something. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, and then there were several aircraft that size just bringing crates of dogs out because all the animals are still there, right? Yeah. So, I think roughly 700 or 800 people or something got evacuated. Oh my goodness. A good chunk of them were by aircraft, and then some were boats too, but it was busy for a few days for all the guys flying people out. And so if they reached out to you and were like, could we use Angel Flight to kind of help people evacuate, is that something you guys could do, or? Probably in rare circumstances. Usually when it gets to that point, you're dealing with chartered aircraft, 2 pilots, commercial operations, because in this case too, the smoke was pretty bad at points. So you're flying IFR, which is instrument flight rules, just like the airlines would, right? Whether there's clouds or low visibility or not. And so, you want a good trained crew, a certified aircraft, all of that. And really most of our aircraft are, 4-6 seats. So we wouldn't be able to, we'd probably just get in the way if there's a bigger operation going on, right? So, and so what is the longest flight that you've done for Angel Flight? The longest flight, usually here, it's Fort McMurray to Edmonton, right? So, it's a 5-hour drive, but it's an hour and 15, hour and 20-minute flight in the Bonanza behind me. So, it's really a time machine. And so, Bonanza, can you kind of go into what your plane is? It's very cool looking. So it's a 1980 F-33A Bonanza made by a company called Beechcraft. They don't make the F-33 anymore, but they make what's called the G-36. So it's basically the same thing, just, a little bit longer, and it's got 6 seats. This has 4 seats. But really stable, solid aircraft, really quick. The wheels fold up on it. And so it gets extra slippery, and you can do, your average sort of low cruise, and this is about 300 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
If you were to convert it to that. So that's why, you go from a 5-hour drive to an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus you can just go in a straight line, which is nice. So yeah, great aircraft for Angel flights because it's efficient and comfortable, and yeah, really enjoy flying this one for sure.
And so what kind of planes are you looking to kind of fly for Angel Flight? Like, is there a certain type?
Yeah, winter operations, like this isn't certified for flight into known ice. So if you see aircraft that are, they've got like de-icing boots and things on the leading edge. And so if you have, that's certified for flight into known ice.
Yeah.
And so you want that capability in the wintertime to be reliable. We're always looking for pilots that have instrument ratings, have a twin engine aircraft that's got that flight into known icing certification.
Yeah.
Just to give you that extra bit of safety and also the experience. And if the weather's not perfect, or good even, we still have a good chance of fulfilling the mission without any, potential of having to turn around because the weather's maybe not great at the destination. So, those sorts of pilots and aircraft are always good to add, but anybody that's interested, we're happy to talk with them. And, if they don't quite have the requirements, we're happy to sort of get them to that point. And sort of advise them on, hey, this is our minimum standard, here's why. There's situations where even if you don't own an airplane, you could still maybe rent an airplane from a flight school, right?
Yeah.
And still fulfill a mission that way if you had the minimum experience. So lots of different ways potentially, right? Depending on how interested somebody is, what their level of experience is.
And so can someone just, if they don't have the time but they do have a plane, can someone kind of volunteer their plane and then have someone fly it for you guys?
For sure, yeah. As long as the owner of the aircraft is comfortable with that, as long as that pilot's listed on the aircraft's insurance and all of those things are sorted out, then yeah. And we have some pilots in our pool that they're sort of in that situation where they have access to a few planes. Maybe they own their own plane, but a given mission calls for the plane that they don't own. But if they're checked out on it and the owner's happy to donate the aircraft's time, then yeah, by all means they can use the aircraft. You don't have to own it. Most of our volunteer pilots, that's the case. They either own it or they're in a group that owns, and so they're a part owner or something. But yeah, lots of different ways to fulfill missions.
And so I'm going back to planes being able to kind of fly in like winter and stuff like that. Do you know how many like approximately you have on Angel Flight that are able to kind of fly year round? Yeah,
so right now we've got probably 2 or 3 at any one time that meet that sort of requirement. We have one in the fleet that's periodically available that's a twin engine turboprop. And so in the wintertime, piston engines and aircraft, they're air cooled. And so you've got to be pretty careful when it gets like minus 30, minus 35. That's usually too cold. And, you don't want to risk things breaking at that sort of temperature. But a jet engine aircraft, a turboprop, totally happy still down to minus 35, minus 40 even, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's just, again, it comes down to sort of the safety and reliability. And, we don't want to risk anybody. So even if a pilot might say like, sure, I'd go, we usually are like, if it's that cold, we're looking for a turboprop. Yeah, or a jet if somebody has one that wants to donate the time and their time. So.
And do you guys have any jets that
Not
have been
yet.
donated?
Not yet, but I'm
like
hoping
that.
someday. Yeah.
And so if someone wants to donate like money or their time, like how would they do that?
Yeah, so you can donate through the Angel Flight Alberta website, which is angelflightab.ca. They can go to the website. There's a donation option through the website. They can get in touch with us through email, if it's going to be a larger donation. And so, yeah, a few different ways they can do a donation in terms of a monetary donation. And then if somebody has an idea of how they think they might be able to help Angel Flight Alberta through some sort of donation, whether it's an in-kind or time, same thing, just email us and we'll get back to them and see how we might be able to make something work. But yeah, I appreciate all the donations and interest from the public for sure.
Yeah. And so what do you want people to know about Angel Flight? Is there anything that we kind of missed or you just want to talk about?
I think, one of the big things is not always does everybody know that this organization exists in Alberta, even though it's been around for 15 plus years. Last summer, I went to the Cold Lake Air Show with this plane, and we just sort of sat on the static display line, had a little Angel Flight Alberta booth set up, and just sort of talked to people and was like, hey, do you know about us? and I'd say 98% of people, they hadn't heard of Angel Flight Alberta before.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like, okay, we need to do a better job of awareness, public awareness, because then that helps with not just like, hey, we're here to help and, requests come in, but also for those that might want to donate their time, volunteer for the organization or, make a financial donation.
Yeah.
It just helps. The whole awareness piece helps with all of that. So yeah, definitely lots of ways that we can get the word out there, I think, a bit better, but I think that's one of the things for me that is important with doing this sort of thing, is just creating some awareness that, yeah, Angel Flight Alberta does exist, what we do, how we can help people, get to and from non-emergency medical appointments, and it's at no cost to them. Angel Flight Alberta covers the fuel costs for the pilots. The pilots donate their time and the aircraft's time, and so, it's a really great way for pilots that have the time and have been fortunate enough to be able to pursue their passions, to be able to give back. So,
and I'm also sure that's great for you guys because you guys get extra hours on your plane, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be able to help somebody,
Yeah.
Go on a mission rather than just, maybe fly around on a little tour or something. It's always nice to have a purpose for a flight and not have to pay for the fuel in the process.
Yeah. And where do you hope to see Angel Flight in the next 5 years?
I'd love to see us, with twice the number of pilots and aircraft that we have now in the volunteer pool, increased donations because those donations really go to just covering the fuel costs.
Yeah.
And so that's our biggest expense as an organization is the fuel cost. And so, every bit of donation helps. For me to fly this to and from Edmonton round trip just in fuels about $350 or something right now.
Goodness.
So, if somebody's like, okay, well, I'm going to donate $150, that's almost one way, right, to Edmonton. So if you put it in that terms for people, they can see, okay, how much can I make a difference with a given donation? Bigger aircraft, 2 engines, a lot more fuel costs. So really depends on the mission. We've done the odd mission too, like taking somebody from Calgary back to northern BC to get them home because they've had to cross provincial boundaries.
Yeah.
And, it's rare. We've done a couple like that. But even when it's had to cross a provincial boundary, we've been able to find a solution when the request has come in most of the time. But rare requests, but yeah, we try to do our best to help.
And then our last question for you is, what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Ooh, best piece of advice. I would say if you're interested in something or if you want to do something, just keep working at it. Getting your pilot's license, it's a lot of time investment. It's not always an easy process. There's good days and there's bad days in the sort of getting your pilot's license process. And so I would say just keep working at it, one bite at a time, right? And just sort of keep your eye on the goal and, keep working towards it. Because if somebody else can do it, you can do it.
Wow, that's good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we're going to just start off with your name.
Carrie Paluski,
And can you tell us a bit about yourself, Carrie?
3rd generation Canadian. Grew up here in Edmonton. A farm boy at heart, but city slicker for the most part. Parents who did have some farming experience, both educators and still attached to the land. So we had this opportunity to travel back and forth between Edmonton and a small community called Two Hills, just east of here, on a weekly basis, just to work that land that was originally in the family in 1903.
Oh, wow.
And so it was out of the family for a while, but we got it back in 73. And so like my dad, I think part of my heart is there. And so that's my happy place. So getting out there, leaving the rat race behind is what I love to do. And so still attached to that type of a lifestyle.
And so do you guys have any animals there, or is it just land?
None that are domesticated. There are lots of animals there, but none that we actually take care of. So with some wildlife cameras, we can see deer, the odd moose, bear trundling through the property. And so it even has raccoons, beavers galore, magpies, crows, turkey vultures, bald eagles. I think we've even seen a marten, woodpeckers, if I didn't mention them. So a number of species.
Just basically everything that they have in Canada. And so what is Angel Flight?
Angel Flight is a volunteer pilot organization that provides free air transportation for disadvantaged Albertans getting to and from medical appointments.
And how long have you been flying for them?
Started Angel Flight in 2006. We took a bit of a approach to providing this service, taking a copy of the Angel Flight BC operations. So Angel Flight BC, it started out as Angel Flight Vancouver Island, started in 2003, I believe. And so having read a little bit about it, 2004, 2005, I thought, you know what, I don't see why Albertans wouldn't similarly benefit from that kind of a service. And so we got a whole bunch of family together to become directors and put it together, and it has morphed into what it is today over the years, going through lots of changes in the directorship and the pilot population that supports us and does the volunteer flights. And so we're slowly getting a little bit busier and busier by the years.
And so I know you mentioned Vancouver is where it originally started. Where else do you guys fly?
We predominantly fly people to and from points in Alberta. Occasionally we will take them out of province, where they are from out of province, as far as Yorkton, Saskatchewan. We've had people go to other places in Saskatchewan, Stony Rapids, which is right at the Northwest Territories, Saskatchewan border, and then some points south of Regina. We've gone into Williams Lake, BC, Pitt Meadows, but predominantly it's within Alberta. We've had one occasion to take somebody from Fort St. John to Vancouver, but predominantly we are servicing northern Alberta, which is where people find themselves disadvantaged by distance, where getting to tertiary medical care takes a long time. And so that seems to be the population that needs us the most, but we will service anybody in Alberta and occasionally out of province people as well.
And so how many people do you have on your team?
That's a moving target. Right now we have a volunteer that does some of our day-to-day operations, and I think as many as 20 pilots, but for the most part I think there are about 4 or 5 that do the lion's share of the flying. But there are people that are on the books as being available, but we don't see them offer their services quite as much as the core.
And so how can someone volunteer their aircraft or time?
We have a website, and on that website you can either request a service, a flight, or you can volunteer as a ground volunteer or ground angel, as well as a pilot. And so everything is on our website at Angel Flight Alberta, so angelflightab.ca.
Perfect, and we can put that in the video as well. And so does it cost any money for the patients or the families who need to be flying?
No, this is all a free service, so there's no cost to the patient or the accompanying companion.
And so why do you think it's important to have something like this accessible for people?
Alberta is huge. The expanse of our country is just absolutely mind-boggling. And so when you're coming down from places like Rainbow Lake and High Level and Lacrete, Fort Vermilion, you're having to pack a lunch and then some. So because of that distance and not being able to have tertiary care in all corners of the province, people are needing to come to larger centers. And so it leaves them at a huge disadvantage. And so just to offset some of their stress, I think that we provide a unique service that will help in that regard.
And so from what I'm hearing from you, it's completely different than an air ambulance. What would be the differences?
So we say that we service the walking wounded. These are
Okay.
not people coming emergently. We don't have those facilities on our aircraft. We don't have paramedics. We don't have oxygen, suction, stretcher capability. These are aircraft that are kind of like the Uber in the sky. So we will, move people to and from typically appointments that are for investigation or for follow-up for various conditions, sometimes for diagnostic tests, sometimes for treatment, but it's elective and not urgent.
Okay. And so you kind of mentioned this before, but are you just always on call, or do you have like a schedule of when you're going to be flying people?
There's another Angel Flight East Kootenay, Angel Flight East Kootenay, and they have scheduled flights. Our model is a little bit different. Every single flight is tailored to that individual's needs, and so they put in a request, and then we will dispatch somebody to pick them up or drop them off. And
Okay.
so these aren't scheduled flights; these are charters essentially.
Okay. And why do you continue to fly for Angel Flight?
It floats my boat. It is a unique opportunity of giving back to a community, and we're all part of a community, and I've got different communities that I'm involved in, but this just allows me to give back. I think I've been blessed with so many blessings, and I've seen the hardship that people experiencing difficulties in their medical journey, the hardships that they have in getting to and from medical appointments, and I've got this unique ability to kind of shrink real estate and make it a little bit easier, more accessible. And so I've not had a patient who wasn't appreciative of the opportunity to see the world from a different perspective from the air, to have a little bit of distraction. And sometimes there's efficiency associated with flying this way. We do have an expression in flying: if you have time to spare, go by air. And sometimes things don't work out well and you end up at a different destination because of weather or other issues. But when it all works, it's really a treat and a gift to give people, to be able to come down from a remote area and have their appointment and be home same day. Whereas prior to being involved with Angel Flight, they might have needed to take 3 days off.
And do you have any memorable flight experiences?
Oh, yeah, quite a few. There are lots to speak of. The one I always recount, and that just shows the efficiency of what we can provide, is a father of, I think there were 5 kids, one with Down's syndrome who also had a cancer and was needing to go from La Crete to Grand Prairie monthly, and then come down to Edmonton quarterly for various treatments. And he was the sole breadwinner, and so it would typically be the patient and the mother and the father who would make the 3-day trek down to Edmonton and back again. Whereas when we became involved, we were able to just pick up the mom and the patient, bring them down, have their appointment, and they were still home for supper the same day. And there was no loss of income. There were no additional costs of gas and accommodations and meals. So that was truly efficient, and it worked for quite some time for them. So that was nice. And then with the recent wildfires, we had a patient who had an appointment on Monday at 1:30 in the afternoon and called Sunday morning. Is there any way that you can get me down, because a lot of the roads are closed and I won't be able to make my appointment? And so we were able to get her down and home again. So it saved her having to rebook that critical appointment.
And this is just such a beautiful thing, because I've always lived in the city, so I've never needed to drive like more than 30 minutes to get to a hospital or get to the emergency room or get to like an appointment that I have. And so it wouldn't even like cross my mind that some of these people need to like spend days and days out here to just get one checkup or something like that. So I think that's quite amazing what you guys do. And so what is something that you wish that people knew about Angel Flights?
That we're here.
Yeah. And the last question I have for you is, what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your years?
I think back to growing up with my dad, who just leaned in, and if there was something that needed to get done, he just rolled up his sleeves and did it. So Don't hesitate to lean in, to try, because you might surprise yourself. You're prepared to do the work. I think there are going to be good things that come.
Mm-hmm. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are here today in Fort McMurray at Mitchell's Cafe, and you can't smell, but it smells delicious in here. They're currently prepping and getting all ready because they are open Tuesday to Saturdays, Tuesday to Sundays, I do believe. No, I think I'm wrong. I think it's Tuesday to Saturday. Thank you. Tuesday to Saturday, closed Sunday and Mondays, and Monday today is their prep day. So let's look what they're making. So hello.
Hello.
And what's your name?
My name is Anna.
And how long have you worked here?
I work almost 1 year here, and I make cookies and different sweets, squares, peanut butter squares, and chocolate chips cookies. It's my job.
Nice. And what are you currently making right now?
Now it's peanut butter cookies, and after we make peanut butter cookies with chocolate chips.
Oh, yummy. And what is your favorite thing that you have on the menu?
My favorite is chocolate chips. It's classic. That's why my favorite chocolate chips.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it that you enjoy about working here?
I enjoy because we always can change something, experiment. It's a different recipe, like cook my grandmother, like cook grandmother Kim, my recipe, different recipe. That's why I like this experiment. It's like create, it's like art. That's why I like this job.
Oh, that's awesome. And what do you like to do outside of work?
Outside it work?
Like hobbies.
Oh, hobbies. This is my hobby. Yeah, it's very interesting because before I was teacher, but in Canada I can't work teacher now. That's why I start do my hobby. It's bakery. That's why I'm happy. My hobby is my life now.
Aw, that's so wonderful. And where are you from? Where did you used to teach?
I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yes, yes. That's why Mitchell's Cafe very helped me because I just study English, study new skills, and I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about everything that's going on.
you.
It's great though that you're able to turn your hobby into your profession now, and
Yeah. Now my hobby, my new profession. Yeah.
And have you enjoyed being? How long have you been in Canada? When did you come here?
I come in April last year. That's why all 1 year I'm working here, and me and my 2 kids. Now we living in Fort McMurray, and we are happy to be here because situation in Ukraine is still very bad. It's worse. It's why. Thank you. Thanks for Canada for help us, for help Ukrainian people. We very appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. Hello.
Hello.
And what's your name?
My name's Kim.
And how long have you worked here?
Well, I just recently restarted again, but I used to work here, I'm going to say like 7 or 8, just before the fire. And I was working here for about, oh my goodness, I think 6 or 7 years before. Yeah, so I'm back again.
Nice. You must really enjoy it to have worked for so long and then be back.
Yes, it's very much like a family-oriented business, and yeah, it's good. I like it.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite menu item?
A favorite menu item? Ooh. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, a lot of our stuff is really good because it's all homemade. It's not, from packages or pre-done, pre-baked or anything like that. So I like that it's all from scratch, and that's what we strive for here. Yeah,
I love seeing that too, because we've just come in, and in the back here, like you're working on, you said biscotti, right?
Yes, biscotti.
Yeah, biscotti, and then there's cookies over here, and You can see that the fridge and everything, you can't see it because it has a lot of logos on it, but full of real ingredients of like eggs and
Like our pastry cream, we do it from scratch. Our buttercreams, like we don't buy buckets. We actually make it.
And that's wonderful too, because my sister, she has a lot of allergies, and so when we go places, a lot of the times they're like, "Oh, well, we get this like in, so we don't actually know what's in it," and then she's not able to eat half the stuff. So that's like super
times
nice.
they don't really know what's in all of it, right? Because it's already pre-done. So then, I mean, they can look at the label, but if it's done as a person, you can just be like, okay, yeah, done. I know what's in there, and so yeah.
Exactly.
Especially for allergies. Like right now we're at the end of our shift, and right here I'm working on peanut butter caraway. She's working on her peanut butter cookies, so yeah.
That's peanuts in the kitchen.
Yes, at the end.
Good choice. And so what is it? Oh, sorry, you were talking about it being a family-oriented business, and that's why you enjoy working. What specifically, though, like, are you really into baking or?
Yes, I'm actually a Red Seal journeyman baker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is what I do. I actually finished up some of my apprenticeship, my third year, I think it was, with Mitchell's Cafe. So then after that, then I went to school at NAIT, and then I became a Red Seal, and came back here and worked here for a few years, and then, now I'm back again.
And congratulations, that's awesome. And so you're from Fort McMurray originally?
Yes, born and raised. Yeah. And then I'm also an ACFN member of Athabasca Chippewa First Nation. So, yeah.
And so what do you like to do outside of work?
Outside of work, well, I also bead as well. So I do a lot of Indigenous beading, and like I have my little small business of baby ga, so I do that as well on the side because I'm here part time, and then I do beading the other part time.
Nice. So then it's like the best of both worlds of two things you enjoy.
It is, yeah. I'm definitely at my. When I was a little bit younger, I was like, oh, what do I want to do? Now I'm happy what I'm doing. I get to do two things that I love at the most and that I have the most passion for. Yeah.
And that's so important, right? Because otherwise work becomes work and something you do not want to do ever.
Yeah, it's something that I enjoy doing and that I like to do. And so, yeah. And plus, like, especially when it comes to baking, your heart goes into it. And same with beading as well. Like, if you're feeling good and you make good food and, then everyone else feels that love in that food, and it's like as you're eating, it's like getting a hug.
Aww. I love that way of like expressing that. That's definitely what it is. When something's homemade and made with love, it has a different taste, and it keeps people coming back. I mean, even when we were walking in, we saw so many people like walk up and then be like, oh, it's closed, and then walk away. So you definitely are pulling a lot of clientele and guests and people that obviously taste the welcomeness and the love in the food.
Yeah, definitely. And then also I just recently started, so I'll be making more things as well. Like I made the cheese twist herb bread loaves, and then pulled pork buns. Plus this summer there's going to be more stuff out. I'm here and I'm like, Kate, let's get it going.
Nice. And so since you're closed Sunday, Mondays, Monday is usually like the prep day for you?
Prep day, yeah. So I come in at like 4:45. Yeah.
What's that like, the early morning start time?
It's nice. It's quiet. And then I just have my radio on and just get in the zone and get going and start baking.
And then the rest of the week, is that like some baking, some customer?
Well, we have another young girl. She's training to be a pastry chef, so she's kind of under my wing. And so what I do is I make all of the big baked items and pretty much prep up for her, and then during the week she puts everything together and she makes it look pretty and puts it out on the display or in the cooler.
That's awesome.
Today I made the cheesecake, little rounds, and so tomorrow she'll come in and she'll put on pastry cream and some mixed berries and make it look pretty, and then and so she does a lot of that during the week.
That's so nice. That sounds like
it's balanced.
Yeah,
it's balanced. So because we have another lady, she comes in the evening and she just does the breads, like the sunshine bread, and then Anna, she does her thing with the cookies and everything. I'm coming in and I'm kind of watching over them. And then I do all of the other little fancy things, and then I tell my little pastry chef to how I want to look and what. And then she also has free. That's another thing I love about here is like, yes, we have certain things that we want, but we also give free form to the chefs and then myself and the bakers and even the ladies up front for the drinks. They get to make their own special drinks, and like, so there's a lot of freedom to play around with some of the ingredients and food, and yeah.
And I think too that really like promotes a positive work environment, because then everyone's ideas are being brought to the table, and it's never like, oh, I can't like have fun or try something new, you know?
Yeah, it definitely gives them more of it, I guess, like more excitement, or like not excitement, but just something to do to look forward to, yeah, and promote the business as well. And we're always having specials, so that's the thing, and always switching it up, but always making sure we have the sunshine bread.
Yeah, the sunshine bread. Can you tell us like a little bit about it? Because we saw it on like your website, but I wasn't too. What makes it sun? What makes it sunshiny? Like, why is it called that? Yeah. Or if you can't tell us, that's fine too.
I don't know, Owen.
You can always talk to Owen about it later too.
She wants to know what the secret is to sunshine bread. Yeah.
Because we're so far up north that like during the summer we get so much time to get so much sunshine. Harvest it up. And then just save it up.
I love that.
Yeah, we keep it stored away downstairs.
Stored away downstairs.
Yeah. So in case you couldn't hear, we'll talk a bit about it in the interview we get to do with Owen later on. But there's so much sunshine up north here in the summertime that they get to store it all up, harvest it, and use it in the bread. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Faisal.
You started in June 2021?
So next week, it's going to be 2 years.
Oh, wow. So do you enjoy working here?
Yes, I do. So I like work here because every day we do new thing. I like challenge, people like that, like what we are doing. So it's just a pleasure to work here. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And what is it you do? You're a chef here?
Yeah, I'm the chef in there, yeah. So I'm a Mitchell chef. That's me.
And what got you into cooking? What is it about cooking that you enjoy?
Cooking. So I like to. So I'm originally from Morocco, born and raised Morocco, and I moved to France. So what I'm trying to do is I'm mixing these three kitchen together.
Okay.
So with Owen, kind of European, it's North American. So we try to put all those kitchen in the sandwiches. So that's our challenge.
Wow, so it's... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you can...
Yeah, so you were saying originally from Morocco, moved to France,
Yes.
and now you're here and you're kind of blending the European and North American flavors kind of in your sandwiches?
We have some sandwiches with three flavors: Europe, North America, South America, mix. Yeah, that's our challenge. That's why I like work here. That's just amazing to.
Yeah, because you have kind of that, we were talking about it before, like that freedom to try new things and bring different flavors and that sort of thing.
Every day, we need to do new thing. Every day, customers need to discover new sandwiches, new flavors, and the challenge. So the idea is not to do the best wings or best fish and chips. We don't need to do that. We don't need our own sandwiches and new flavors. That's our challenge. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. And do you have a favorite menu item, like a favorite sandwich that you've made or something?
Like today, I'm making that's the beef flat, which I'm gonna marinate with the fresh herbs. That's the marinade. I'm gonna marinate for 3 days. I'm gonna cook it for 5 hours. That will be for this week. With the chipotle and Dr. Pepper, and we call it I Need a Doctor.
Oh,
You see, so we create sandwich, we give it a name, and boom, people like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were making with these. Are these for the pasta
That's
salad?
noodles for this soup. It's gonna be honey beef with noodles. Yes.
Ooh, and so every day you guys have a new soup?
New soup every day. 1:30, 2 o'clock, normal soup.
Oh, okay.
So-
It goes fast?
Yeah, soup and daily sandwich. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
1:30, 2 o'clock, no more sandwiches, no more. Yeah.
And so are you guys really busy usually when the hours you're
Crazy
open?
busy.
Yeah.
We are crazy busy. Yes, every day, and we just enjoy it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is if someone wants to come and try your soup and sandwiches, they need to be here right on the dot as soon as you guys open?
Yeah. Sometimes people call, oh, I need 10 sandwiches. That put them on the side. I'm coming in. So,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Same with soup. So see, we are.
Oh, so that's your guys'
Monday
little-
was catering for this week. We did. So the manager didn't check his emails. So tomorrow morning, this thing's gonna be all full. Yeah,
And so-
catering people, yeah.
Are you the only chef?
Yeah, I have Owen and I have all team working together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you stay busy.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
good,
yeah,
though.
yeah.
You walk in and it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
so
yeah,
nice
yeah.
and all like the fresh baked bread and like
Yeah.
the meat over there. Like I love
Yes.
like sandwiches, but I like fresh sandwiches and I like when someone has like fresh ingredients and like they were saying that you make like your pesto yourself, which is really cool, like all your sauces. So that's like I completely understand why you guys are so busy and you guys sell out.
If you can have this taste, so there's too many work behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys are like the only place in Fort McMurray that kind of does something like this, right? That has like fresh soups, fresh sandwiches, the donuts. You guys were talking about bringing those back, which is pretty excited.
5 or 6 restaurants. Maybe it's the small kitchen in town, but
Yeah.
that's the best one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No matter how small the kitchen, the flavors are still there. Yeah.
We do from scratch. We don't want it to be like everyone.
Yeah.
We just kind of make customer happy. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Thank you so much.
So I'm just doing some espresso. So we get our beans from different places in BC and Calgary and Edmonton. So we don't roast anything ourselves, but we like to kind of feature some Alberta and some BC roasters. We have a great relationship with them, and we kind of talk to them kind of daily and kind of like check in, and then we have like some feature ones and everything. So right now I'm just doing a iced espresso with some oat milk. So get that started. Yeah.
So does this weigh it?
Yeah, so it weighs it and sets the timer for us. Don't mind all the water. Perfect. The only bad thing is all the water. We gotta change our gaskets, that's why it's a little off. Yeah, so it just weighs everything for us. And I'm just gonna put some oat milk in it. Try a nice iced little cold brew with some oat milk.
All right, so can you tell us your name
Yeah, my name's Kimberly Hilchey.
and how long have you worked here?
So it's gonna be 7 years this August. Yeah.
And what is your kind of role, job here?
So I am the day-to-day manager. So when I first started here, I was up front, and then I kind of progressed, and now I'm the general manager. So I kind of help out day-to-day if they need me on the sandwich line, if they need me here. I deal with a lot of like catering, scheduling, that kind of stuff.
And what is it that you enjoy about, I'm assuming you enjoy working here because you've been here for a little while. So what is it that you enjoy about working here?
So when I first started here, I had known one of the other owners she was my assistant manager at another job location. So when I was kind of out of work because of the fire and everything, she's like, oh, you should definitely apply here. So then when I got to meet Owen and everything, I was like, okay, this is like the best. Like I feel like everyone's just like really friendly. It's a lot of like young staff, and we kind of just like keep us all like going and everything. So I think that's always the fun part. And our customers are like amazing too. We have a lot of regulars.
I can imagine with just, I've said it so many times, it smells delicious in here. Everything looks amazing. We're so excited to come back tomorrow and like see everything and try everything out. Outside of your general manager job, what is it that you enjoy doing?
I like to go kayaking along the river in the Snai. I like to take my dog for a walk and everything, kind of just explore like the outdoors of Fort Mac. It's really a nice like borealis forest, so you get to really like go outside and kind of hang out.
So you touched a little bit on the fires that happened a little while ago. Can you talk a bit to like what that experience was like for you and like a business and like,
Yeah, so at the time I wasn't working here, but I kind of noticed so the fire happened in May, everyone was kind of back June and July, so I started here at the end of August. So it honestly didn't even seem like anything even happened here. Like we were so busy. I was only working like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I think, and like we were like lined up. It was crazy. So to me, I didn't feel like the business got affected too much. I'm not quite sure of like how it was before, but it really felt like everyone was just so happy to be able to like come here and be with us. So it was really cool.
Nice. And then just like maybe as an individual, just like you in yourself in that experience, because I think like wildfires are a really not common. I don't want to say common, but like BC and Alberta. Really common right now. But I think BC and Alberta is a little more used to it. So I'm just noticing this wind in the background, and now I'm all of a sudden worried. Maybe we could, maybe we can go like this. Perfect. Because I think BC and Alberta were kind of used to it more so. But now that the wildfires have been that bad, they're kind of transferring into the States, and climate change and like everything's just so crazy. So I just mean like kind of your experience going through that and having it especially so close to home, because I mean for us in Edmonton it's still a little ways away, obviously still not a good thing and still like absolutely terrifying, but there's that remove in a sense because it's not directly there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so I am born and raised in Fort McMurray, so it was definitely very hard to see everything up in flames. So I was I guess lucky enough to go out the Edmonton way. I didn't get stuck in the oil sands area, because I know a lot of people had to get reverted that way. But yeah, just to see like our Beacon Hill and everything that had already burned and like just the fire, it was really sad. It was definitely not something I ever want to go through again, but I feel like being able to like be in Edmonton and have like my friends and everything there, like we all kind of huddled, so it wasn't like the worst experience. I can't say I wasn't too like bothered by it, but it was definitely nice to like come home and like see everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about that, which is so dumb because like obviously it's like the place where you grew up, you know, and then everything that you've kind of known is like thrown out the window, and then you're in a situation of like, oh, okay, I guess this is kind of what we're doing now. Yeah. And so Fort McMurray, what are some of the things, like some of the go-to things that you think people need to do when they come here?
Ooh, definitely us. No.
No, but actually, I've said it before, but the amount of people that walked up and were like, oh, they're closed, like definitely a hit.
Really a hidden gem. It's quite nice. We'll get like people that come out from the airport, and like even the taxi drivers will be like, have you heard of Mitchell's Cafe? And they're like, what is this place? And so it's kind of fun because like we're kind of like a house looking, so you don't really think it's a cafe. So it's nice that we have like the big sign out now and everything. But some other things. I would definitely check out like all the festivals that we'll have kind of happening this summer. So we have, what's one that's happening? Oh, we have a food festival that's happening, I think, in July. So that's really fun. We did participate a few times, but it's really nice to like see all like the local other places that we have, even some of like the chain restaurants, and just kind of see like that kind of stuff. And then I know there is some like concerts that are happening. We just had like a BMX kind of show happen at the skate park. We had like I think some other breweries and like stuff like that come, and like a whole punk concert. So it was like really cool and like interesting, because a lot of the times you have like country or like that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool.
That's so awesome. And just speaking to Mitchell's Cafe, my sister was here for work, actually, and she was like, oh, you should check out this cafe when you come. And I'm like, that's literally where we're going. I told you that we will be there.
Right.
She's like, oh, I did not even hear that. She's like, we just found it, and it was so good. So.
I know. I'm kind of sad. When I was growing up here, I like didn't know really what Mitchell's Cafe was. So I think kind of when I hit high school, they used to be located in Keanu College, and they're like sports and wellness. So when I was like going there to see like my parents and all that, where they work, they were like, oh, go get a sandwich. I'm like, what is this yellow bread? What are these sprouts? What is a turkey cranberry? Like, what is this? So it was really cool. I'm really sad, though, I didn't have that during my childhood. But, like, now that I've gotten older, it's quite nice to find it.
Absolutely. And now you can kind of take it on for the future and then, yeah, moving forward, you know?
I'm excited for you guys to see what tomorrow's like.
I know. So what should we expect? Like, is it crazy? Because I feel like it's going to be crazy.
Morning times, it's like a hit and miss. We get a lot of like company people, like business people, like coming in, grabbing scones, muffins, drinks. So you got like a little bit of a rush. Our morning staff will come in, they'll do like catering, everything, so they'll kind of end that by 9 o'clock when you see, but they'll see kind of like them scrambling around, like kind of getting everything like prepped and ready to go. But yeah, it's just like the smell of everything, and like they'll have like all of our stuff like super stocked, so it's really exciting.
That's the best part. I'm so excited. We're going to literally try everything. We're like, we'll get all the cookies and then just split them. It's basically one cookie, you know?
I think I am proud to say I've tried every sandwich on our like main menu because I'm like, I have to. But like anytime anyone comes in, they're like, oh, what do you recommend? I always say the special because like they change so much. So it's always the special, so you got to go with.
And do you have a favorite menu item actually?
Ooh, so our regular menu item, I would have to say, would be a ham and double cheese. Yeah. So it's ham, Swiss, cheddar. We got a grainy Dijon, mayo, sprouts, lettuce. Amazing. Our special sandwich that I hate to say I love because it's just so, it's our busiest day, but it's like so good and it's so like basic per se, but it's our sweet heat. So we take our smoked meat, we have a sweet heat mustard, mayo, we put sweet heat Doritos on it. Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Pickles, Swiss cheese, sprouts, lettuce. Oh, it's so good. But it's like, you don't think, like, it's just like one of those like basic, like you throw some chips on a sandwich, but it's so good. So definitely you have to try it.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited.
Yeah. Also, Fridays we do fried chicken Fridays. So we have fried chicken sandwiches, and they go from like buffalo chicken we had a Caesar chicken wrap. We've done like a honey hot sauce. We've done, oh my God, so many different ones.
That we're not here on a
I know. I wish you guys could stay longer.
That's so fun. I feel like that is amazing, not only for the staff, because we spoke to the staff and a lot of them were saying like there's that freedom of like playing with flavors, trying new things, but also for the customers of like you have your staples and your favorites that are always accessible, but you also get something like new that is, you know, never a dull moment.
Oh my God, yeah. Like I think tomorrow we're doing like a quesadilla with some like brie cheese, some peaches, like stuff like that. Yeah, so it's really just take everything that we have and just throw it together.
Just make something of it, you know?
Yeah, our chef's amazing, and he always comes up with like the best sandwiches and everything, so it's really cool.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This is what we always have, at least like on stock, and then tomorrow we'll have a lot more. Like they do cupcakes, cakes, like it's insane the stuff that they come up with.
Hi everyone.
Welcome back to our channel.
We're in Fort Mac right now.
We didn't have time to do a landing video because things got crazy.
Yeah.
But we are in Fort Mac. We visited Mitchell's Cafe yesterday for their prep day, and we're back again today to get to know more people, try some food, have some fun.
Yeah, we're really freaking pumped. It smelled amazing in there yesterday. They're like, wait just till you come today. Like, it's gonna smell 10 times more better. That's not even a proper sentence. I'm
fine.
So tired right now. I have no idea why. But no, it's gonna be fun.
We're really excited to try everything and talk to people and especially try the food.
Yeah.
We've heard very good things about it. So yeah, come on in with us. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Day 2 at Mitchell's Cafe, and we are going to get to know a little bit more about the staff. So here I am with
Sammy Schlahetka.
All right, and how long have you worked here?
I have worked here just a little bit over 3 years.
Wow.
I've been here a long time. It was my first job. Still on my first job, you know, hanging out. Clearly it can't be too bad here.
Yeah.
I've stayed this long.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is it that you enjoy about your job here?
I really like the coworkers that I have. We always make sure we hire a really good bunch, get along with them all super well. It's not uncommon for us to like hang out after work or on weekends and stuff. We're just pretty close. And also the regulars. Like I just got back from Ontario and I was thinking about our regulars from time to time. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see these guys again.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
And so, do you have like a favorite menu item that you sell here?
It changes all the time because they're changing the stuff up all the time. They always have so many good things. Like for the squares, I'd say like the marshmallow square, I'm not even really a big fan of peanut butter. Like I like it with chocolate, but normally not my go-to. That one though, that's freaking good.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We'll have to try that.
Yeah.
We have a
and then, like,
long list of things we need to try
I know.
today.
I've worked here 3 years and I still haven't tried everything. They're constantly bringing out new stuff.
That's awesome though, because I feel like that like always keeps it interesting. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And then we do try to bring back like the fan favorites, like when we have people asking about them all the time. Then go put in a word in the bakery, you know. So try to bring back the fan favorites.
How would you say the business has changed in the 3 years that you've worked here?
I don't really know. I mean, it's picked up since COVID because that's kind of like around when I first started. So I guess I definitely seen it go up in business and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure what it was like really beforehand. But yeah, I don't really have much of an answer for that one.
That's fair. And what was it like starting during COVID? Like it must have been very weird compared to now.
Like where it was my first job and working through COVID, I didn't really like have anything to compare it to. So, I mean, it was a nice way to like introduce myself because it wasn't like super crazy high energy. It was really easy to get like comfortable here. So, yeah. It was nice in a way, actually.
Some nice little like dip in the pool, like dip your toes in the pool before jumping head first.
Exactly.
Like,
and then
craziness.
also like where I started in like not quite spring, like still like just approaching the end of winter was also nice because then once summer came, it was like throw you into the madness. The lineups are out the door because they're so busy in the summer, and so yeah, it was a nice introduction for sure.
That's awesome. And are you a local to Fort Mac? Like, did you grow up here?
Born and raised here, lived here my entire life. Same house, everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so definitely I'm a local, that's for sure.
And what are some of your favorite, like, local spots to go to or things to do here?
You know, I don't really get up too much. So, yeah, I don't really have a good answer for that one. I spend my time here.
Nice. So that means everyone just has to come and check it out. Because
basically.
It smells amazing. We've talked about that every single time.
We get so many comments on that. Like people like come in the door and they're like, oh my god, it smells so freaking good. In here, outside, down the street, it's like your sense of smell, free marketing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's like the test to a good like cafe restaurant is when people walk in and are like, I'm already happy to be here.
Exactly, and you know the pastries are strategically placed like right beside the door by the till. So if you're like kind of wandering, okay,
it's marketing, you know. They got it.
Exactly.
And then my last question here. I just love asking people this question. You don't have to have an answer to it if you don't. But what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Throughout my life, I mean, it seems like really simple, you know, but it's just like. Kind of don't stress about things, don't worry about things. Easier said than done sometimes, for sure, undoubtedly. But I mean, I was kind of like raised in a very like stress-free, like don't worry about it, deal with it when you can sort of way. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that reflects my personality. I'm pretty laid back. I like to think, you know.
I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, of course. This is great.
All right. And we are here with
Peter.
Peter?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Bridget. I don't think I told you that. But, so how long have you worked here?
About a year and a half now, I'd say. Just over a year and a half, yeah.
Nice. And what is it that you do here?
I am the supervisor of the line, so basically I just kind of make sure that things are running well, make sure sandwiches are going out good, you know, customers are happy, that kind of thing.
Awesome. And so what is it that you enjoy about working here?
I think just the environment in general. It's like a really fun place to work. Everyone's always having a good time, you know. It's definitely one of my favorite jobs I've ever worked at. The customers are always really happy. Like, you never get nasty people here or anything like that. So it's a really good time here.
Your menu. You have such a wide variety of menu options. Do you have a favorite?
I think my favorite is we have a special called the Sweet Heat, which is basically smoked meat, and we put some like Sweet Heat Dorito chips on it. That one's like, it's a crazy day whenever we do that one. But I think that'd be my favorite special. Yeah.
That was someone else. Yeah, Tim mentioned that to us yesterday, and we were like, oh my gosh, that sounds so good. Are you local to Fort Mac? Did you grow up here?
I did. I moved up here in like 2009, so I've been living here off and on for a while now.
Oh, okay.
Most of my like younger years, I did grow up here, I guess. But other than that, I'm from like more like central Alberta, kind of like down by Slave Lake area.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, and do you have any like places or restaurants or anything local here that you love to go to?
Ooh. I don't go out too much, except for sometimes me and my fiance will go to the Boston Pizza in Timberlea, just because I have a lot of friends that work there. Nice. So like, other than that though, I don't really go out too much. go to work and I like to stay at home.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Congratulations, by the way, to you and your fiance. That's so exciting. My sister's also getting married.
Oh, wicked.
So yeah, it's a super fun time. So I'm sure you're excited.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
How'd you meet your fiance? If you don't mind me asking.
So actually, we've known each other for about 6 years now, or 7 years. And actually, they were my manager at McDonald's back in the day.
No way!
Yeah, and so we got to know each other then, and then I was out of town for a little bit, and then when I moved back, we just linked really quickly. We've been together just over 2 years now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Congratulations, so fun. I'll bring it back more business-oriented. Sorry,
that's okay.
Asking about your personal life, but thanks for sharing. How have you seen the business change over the time that you've worked here?
We've went through a lot of different, we've had a lot of different staff crews like come in and out, as happens in like food service industry. So I've seen like changes in that. We've also done a few changes in like just the way we do things, kind of try to make things a bit more like, a bit more set up throughout the days and whatnot. Other than that though, a lot of it's like pretty similar to when I first started. I mean, they've been around since I think 1996 or something like that, so they've been around for a while. But yeah, it's definitely, I've seen a growth in like a lot of the different staff around here. I've seen myself grow too as well. Like I used to just be a line worker when I first started, and now I'm like kind of running a lot of stuff. So yeah, a lot of different growth throughout different departments.
For sure. And how would you say that, what skills I guess do you think they've helped, or Mitchell's Cafe has helped you develop in order to like get to where you are now?
The owner, he's helped me with a lot of stuff, like not only just at work of like showing me how to do different things, but he's also helped me with a lot of like personal stuff too, like just like life outside of work. So that's it's been really good to like just like learn a lot of different life skills and like things that will just help me grow in the business itself.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And so my last question here, I just love asking people this question, so if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Oh, best piece of advice. That's a hard one. I'm not sure if I got an answer for that right off the top. Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, and we are back with a customer here named Jason. Hello, Jason. How are you today?
I'm really good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So we're just going to chat with you a little bit because we were talking off camera. Nobody else knows this, but you have a local Fort McMurray brand as well, which we'll kind of dig into in a moment. But can you tell us about kind of Mitchell's Cafe and your experience being a customer here and what you like?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been coming to Mitchell's twice a day for about 5 years now, just because the coffee, the pastries, and the sandwiches are just that unreal. And I just continued coming here every day until I started to actually make friends with the people that worked here, because I was here so often, and just wanted to just have that relationship with good people that are doing good work.
You mentioned talking to the staff a bit and getting to know them and like kind of becoming friends. So would you say, what kind of environment and like vibe would you say the community at Mitchell's Cafe creates?
It's such a great community. I walk in the door, the girls have my coffee almost ready to go as I walk in. I know Peter, Owen, Joelle, Kim, everyone by first name. We see each other outside of Mitchell's, and it's just like a good relationship that grew just from coming in here and getting coffee and asking how their day was, and they're smiling back, asking how my day is, and it's just a nice, like, feel at home sort of place to go.
Yeah, it's like you come for coffee and then you leave with friends, and yeah.
It's amazing.
That's wonderful. What would you say your favorite menu item is?
Oh, definitely the sweet heat sandwich. I think that's probably everyone's.
You're the third person to say that, and I'm like, no.
So good. It's so good.
We'll definitely have to come back when it's here and then try it out.
Or their twisted fish and chips, the anything bison, and then their apple fritters, the donuts have been unreal lately. Everything's just, it's so good.
Yeah, we got to come yesterday to see some behind the scenes work of making the apple fritters and some of the stuff, and wow, so excited to try it. So excited to try everything.
Make sure you get your hands on one before they all go, because they'll be here for like an hour, maybe, and they'll be gone.
Yes, after this interview, we'll take a break and then try things out. But you were also saying that you had a local brand. Can you talk to us a bit about your brand that you
absolutely. I started Climate Control 10 years ago. We do like heating, cooling, kitchen work, and that's the other reason why we're involved with Mitchell's is I started eating here so much. I was like, I got to fix this guy's stuff because I want to help him out because he helps me out. And so I sat here every day until eventually he just came on the deck. He's like, who are you? We're here every day. I'm like, I'm Jason. It's nice to meet you. And now we're best friends. We golf once a week and go for dinner and stuff. Yeah, so it's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And he's just a great guy, great community member. I got nothing but good things to say about Owen and Joelle. And it's been a good friendship and business relationship.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so for your business, when did you start your business?
May 2013. So we just celebrated 10 years last month. Yeah, thank you. And we're just focused on doing heating, cooling, plumbing in the community. And just same thing where it's community based, where we want to help out. We do a lot of nonprofit work for the Legion, SPCA, Friendship Center, anything we can to help out. And it's just about showing up to work every day, being happy to be at work, and making sure the guys are happy to be at work. And it creates a nice atmosphere that people are happy to be at.
Absolutely. And what was the inspiration for the business?
Wanting to, I guess, just to help people, honestly. I want to be able to show up to somebody's house. So they call when we're in need. Their heat doesn't work, their air conditioning doesn't work. They're happy to see me show up. I fix their stuff. They're happy to see me leave. I mean, I can't complain at all. Like, life is too good. And it's just nice to meet people, and the relationships I can get out of just showing up to work every day is the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so 2013, you said you started. So what did the gap of COVID look like for you, I guess? Like, was there any, like, what was that? Like,
we've had a couple interesting, Fort McMurray's had a couple interesting things that happened. The fire, then our building got flooded downtown, most of downtown flooded, and then COVID. So I think we're almost prepared. Yeah, like we're ready for anything. If we can handle these three things, like I feel like it's just the adaptability that you gain in disasters and in times of like peril are just, they help you be resilient and grow through anything. And so we were very lucky to have that experience ahead of time for COVID. And we managed to, keep our head up and just do what was needed to get done. And we just survived, and it was awesome. Yeah, we had no complaints about that, luckily, very luckily.
For sure. And so my last question here, I love asking this question. There's no pressure to answer it, though. People always say it's a really big question. But what is the best piece of advice you've received throughout your life?
Ooh, don't sweat the small things. Something bothers you for a little bit, just let it off. Let it ride off your back. Nothing really matters that much at the end of the day. If you can just forget about it, sleep on it. If it's that big of a deal, you can worry about it the next day. But if it's small, let it go.
I think that's really great advice. Hard to follow sometimes, but definitely something that needs to be done. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Absolutely. No, thank you, girls. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my name is Owen Erskine. I guess I'd be the owner and operator of Mitchell's Cafe, along with my wife, Joelle, who's not really here as much, but does a lot in the back scenes and stuff, yeah.
And so, how long has Mitchell's Cafe been open?
Mitchell's Cafe has been open since 1996. So for quite some time in a Fort McMurray lifespan. We're going on, I think, like, how many years is that? Almost 30? Yeah, so it's a long time for a restaurant, especially up here. You don't see a lot of places that have been around for that long still here. So it's pretty neat. Like, I think myself and Joelle would be like the fourth kind of owners in its kind of life.
And so when did you take ownership of Mitchell's Cafe? Like, what was that process like?
So, like, I guess I became a partner in 2009 with my old chef, like, mentor and boss, because I worked here in high school. I think I started working here in, like, 2003, maybe. I did the wrap program. So I worked here until 2007, and then I went away to Calgary for 2 years, and then came back in 2009 and kind of operated with my old bosses until, I'd say, maybe like 2013, 2014. And that's when myself and Joelle kind of took over from that. And then, kind of bought them out in 2016, I guess. And then, so we've been kind of running it as the sole owner-operators for about 7 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it was kind of funny because it's just something that I kind of always seen myself doing, is because, you know, I came here as a kid. I'm from Fort McMurray. And so it's pretty neat. It's a pretty cool circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about the history of Mitchell's Cafe?
Yeah, so Mitchell's Cafe was opened in 96 by, their last name was McDougall. They were ex-RCMP officers, and they actually bought the building from the RCMP because it was the old barracks. So, like, they had the cells in the basement and then kind of the office in the main floor where you guys kind of seen most of the stuff. And then upstairs was, like, the residence for some of, like, I think it'd be, like, the highest ranking officer with a family, because it's kind of like a family unit up there. So, yeah, it's been kind of, I think before that it was a pharmacy. It was one of the first pharmacies in town from, like, maybe the 70s or maybe the early 60s, and then it became the RCMP barracks in the 70s for a bit, or maybe like the 50s it was the pharmacy, and the 60s and 70s it was the RCMP barracks. But yeah, like, there's it's been a few different things for sure. And so, like, it's always been since 96 it's always been Mitchell's Cafe. So yeah, it's kind of cool. No matter who kind of comes in and runs it, it's still kind of that same-ish kind of idea.
Sorry, can you speak a bit to the menu and the items that you carry?
Yeah, so, like, our menu's kind of been, it's kind of the classic menu that kind of Mitchell's opened with, but also we've kind of evolved as time has moved on, and, I guess everyone who's kind of owned it has done their own kind of thing. For us personally, when we took over, we kind of wanted to go back in time a bit to back in, like, before you had anything pre-made or any kind of these convenience items that you see in a lot of restaurants nowadays. Like, we went back to just everything made in-house. So, like, everything on our menu, like, it used to kind of just be some things here and there, but kind of when we took over, it was like, we're going to get our meats are locally smoked now. Pretty much everything except for our Italian deli meats, which we can't get locally, are done up at the meat shop in Thickwood. So they do our roast beef, ham, smoked meat, back bacon, and specialty kind of meats that we're not doing in-house ourselves. So that was a really cool relationship that we started, and that was kind of the first relationship I made locally. And then doing things like making all of our sauces and all our cookie doughs and all our squares, and we really branched out with our coffee to try and get coffee from Western Canada only, so from Alberta and BC mostly is where we try and feature beans from. We only get coffee from, like, single origin suppliers, so it's going from, like, a broker, or from the farmers to the broker to the roaster. So there's kind of, like, some responsibility and ethical points in there that we're trying to do the best we can at, right? Yeah, like, obviously some things are a little harder to get single source, right? Like grains and things like that. And, obviously with how far north we are with, like, fruits and vegetables and things, but we try and do the best we can, like, with what we have, to make everything kind of the least touches as possible, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And where does that desire stem from? Like, what is it that you, like, why do you want to keep things local and singles?
I just think because it's something that society's gotten quite far away from. I think that we see that more and more as time goes on. I think that we see a lot of, big box stores and convenience products used, like easy delivery services when it comes to food or other items. And I guess it's just about trying to keep that little bit of community alive, where you have I think we've read and heard a lot about it since like post-COVID times or whatever, or COVID times or whatever you want to refer to it as. It's like the local store and like running into people at the store and all that sort of stuff, right? That's always been pretty close to myself and Joelle as well. Like, we come from small places and we come from really involved community and families that really care about that. So it's just about that desire to kind of carry that through. And to, I think Fort McMurray gets a bit of a bad rap for being this place of transient coming and going, and like people who aren't from here don't see us as a community or as like a real town or whatever you want to say. So I think that anyone who knows can go to many places here in town and see how much of a real big community we are. So yeah, I think it's just that desire and having control over those types of things. Like if you deal with your suppliers, then you know where it's coming from and you can speak to it, right? And if you don't, then you can't. So it just means something, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And so before you had mentioned you were born and raised, so you grew up in Fort McMurray?
Yeah.
And so what was that experience like growing up here? Have you had like any favorite spots, or like what do you love about living here?
Oh yeah, like I think growing up here was really interesting. It was a really small town when I was growing up, and then we see a lot of booming coming in and a lot of different people coming. So, for quite some time, it was a really small town where you knew everyone and where it was really, no one locked their doors. And I don't know if people lock their doors still. I try not to. But, it's like, it just kind of was like that. And I'm not saying that when the booms came in like the 2000s and stuff, did we lose all that a little bit because a lot of change came quickly? But I think that Fort McMurray, in essence, is still really that place. It's still a very small town. It's still very tight knit, even with all the different. When I was growing up, it wasn't like a whole bunch of different ethnicities and people from different parts of the world, and different languages getting spoken all over the place. And now that's really changed. Now I would say we probably have one of the most diverse populations per capita in Canada. And the most, I'd like to think that we're probably one of the most welcoming communities for when it comes to working together and coming together when it comes for non-for-profits and community-based stuff. Like, I think that we're really, because we're so small, but we're also big, we see both sides of that, and we really see how closely and well cultures can intertwine like that. Like, I'm very proud of the fact of like how many different ethnicities and languages and religions and people there are here. Like, yeah, I think that's one thing that's really important about Fort McMurray, is just how diverse and welcoming we can really be. Because it's like none of that really matters up here. We don't have those deep segregations of these people, right? Like, our Indigenous population has been very welcoming to anyone who wants to come here, for the most part, and tries to, welcome them. And I hope that we can show that grace and respect to them more so too.
I think that's so beautiful, especially because based on the conversations we've had with your staff and customers and just other people, I definitely see those ideas and morals reflected in your business and just like the freedom that you're allowing your staff to like try new things and bring what they have to the table, as opposed to kind of just shutting it down and being like, this is the way we do it. It's kind of like accepting and welcoming and adding to the menu and adding to what you've already created, as opposed to just keeping it what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And that means a lot to hear that too, because I think that's one of the bigger things that we lose sometimes, is like when we try and make people do things our way. Or, it's like a lot of things that you hear is like, seeing things with two eyes, right? Instead of just one eye or one mind, right? And when you restrict people, then you don't see what they bring to the table and what kind of experiences they have, right? Like, I think that's one of the best things about, being here, or being the boss here, or whatever you want to say, right? It's like, I get to decide what works and what doesn't work. And I guess we're lucky in the fact that like those decisions are made not really on a personal sense. They're made more so on like like we're all people, right? Like, you hear a lot about like especially lately, about negative views on people, and not the things about, you know, the progression of, you know, humankind that one would think in 2023 that we would see. You know, like we see, you know, you see the world becoming a bit smaller in the wrong way, right? Where it's like, you know, I think that like young Owen would have thought by now, with like the way things are, with like, you know, that people would just be like, oh wow, yeah, we're all not so different after all, right? So maybe that's what we're trying to do here, is to show that, right? Like, so if you want a sandwich in Fort McMurray, you don't get to come in here with the view that we're all the same and we all need to be the same. You know, it's like, no, if you want to come here, then forget that, right? Like, if that's my one rule, right? Yeah, like, don't come in here thinking that we're all regular, right? Like, we're all different. So yeah, like, if that's what Mitchell's does, then that's what it is, right? Yeah. We make good food and stuff, but yeah. But that's,
we also make good food and pastries and coffee, but...
Yeah, but that's the catch. It's like, you don't get to come here and tell us how we're supposed to be, right? You come here, you come as you are, right? Yeah.
And that's, I just have to say, that's so beautiful, because I completely agree with what you're saying in respect to the size of the world and wanting people's outlook on the world to kind of like broaden that scope of like, there's so many different people in the world, let them all be different, as opposed to like that small-minded view of, oh, we should be more the same, but like, nobody's the same. We all have our own things that we bring to the table. You see it here in the staff, in the menu items, you see it everywhere, and even in just your day-to-day life as well.
And that's that would be my takeaway. It's like, you know, like maybe we need to think about that a little bit more, and maybe that's our problem, right? It's that we're trying to dictate people, and maybe, you know, and I think if there's one thing that we learned from history, it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. You know, like maybe things are, you know, and like, maybe things are better when we just are okay with the way things are and how people are, and then we can, you know, obviously we see that in, you know, from World War I to whenever now, right? Like, you know, like, we talked with Anna as well, right? And like, you know, it's great that Anna's here, but it's also heartbreaking, right? Because it's like, why did she have to come here? Why do people have to leave places, right? Yeah, but I mean, that's, you know, that's where we are, right? So the only thing we can do is control the circumstances around us. And lucky for me that, you know, lucky for us that I get to control how this place kind of operates, right? Absolutely. Yeah, so that's kind of like my thing, right? This is our little world, and we get to control how that happens a little bit, as much as we can, right? Yeah.
You're the owner and operator, but we've seen you kind of behind the scenes, like you're still involved kind of in the day-to-day operations as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't strike me really as the type that's just kind of sitting at a desk and doing paperwork.
Oh man, I'd love that. No, and I mean, that's kind of my gift and my curse when it comes to work. Yeah, but I kind of enjoy it. Like right now I'm filling in prep mostly because we're looking for a prep person. Sometimes I'll just come in and do dishes. Sometimes I'm online or, you know, running around doing deliveries or whatever. But also, like, I'm, you know, when the time comes, I don't mind not coming in at all. And I don't mind saying, you know what, guys, I got time off. I'm not here, you know, and I don't expect them to pick up the slack, but you know, like, we work hard, but I work hard for them too, so that it's like, you know, there's a time that I don't like to be here, because there was a time where I'd be here 7 days a week, 16 hours, and that's not healthy, right? Like, and you don't want a boss who's here all the time trying to control everything. And that's one of the best things about the past little while, is that I've gotten to really, okay, yeah, this is what I'm doing today. Have fun, guys. Like, I'm not going and making sandwiches. People come in and they see me like out on the floor. And, oh, where you been? It's like, oh no, I've been here. I've just been in the back, or I'm just doing whatever. Like, you know, you guys saw it yesterday. No, oh, it's 2:15. I gotta go. Yeah. Because it's like, I have to, you know, you have to give yourself those breakers and that ability to really be able to unplug and not be a control freak, right? Because that's not good for business, and it's a lot better when you try and empower your staff and the people that you work with to, you know, hey, no, you're doing this, right? Like, I don't care. Oh, you guys were busy? Oh, that sucks. Have a nice, you know, like, I'm busy too, right? But yeah, like, it's a give and take. Like, it's hard, right? When you, it's hard to it's hard when you have a good standard of everything, because you have to keep that standard. But that's also like a gift, right? It's like everyone expects us to be really good, right? That's why we're only open 5 days a week, because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard work, right? Like it's hard work making everything and doing all that stuff. But it's kind of worth it when you get the payback of people who aren't from here. You know, lots of people move here, right, and set their roots here. My parents did the same. But it's like when they bring their families up and they get to bring them somewhere that is a place that has that feel. You know, it's really important. I think towns big and small throughout Alberta, Canada, everywhere, you know, around the world have those places. And I think it's really important that people are able to show that and to have that where they can go if they got good news or bad news or whatever, right? Like those things are kind of important to a society at a whole, right? That there's somewhere that's just like, you know, a spot like that. And I think Mitchell's was that when I was a kid, and I'm glad to be able to kind of carry that through. And it's like it's still that kind of place. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that just in the way that you're speaking about it, and in the fact that you're, you know, only open 5 days a week, and that you can jump from spot to spot, you know, because I mean, I think we've all had jobs with bosses who were very adamant on what they did, and like, you know, and then it doesn't create a healthy environment for the staff nor for the customers. And the customers that come in, they know, you know, like you can read a vibe when you enter a building, and you know when you want to stay, you know when you want to hang out, you know when it would be okay for you to have your coffee and pastry and enjoy it at a table there, as opposed to like when you should just kind of take it to go because you don't really want to be there anymore. But I definitely see I don't know if homey is the right word, but like comfortable, safe, like accepting environment that you've created for customers and staff alike. And I just applaud you for that, because I think
thank you. Yeah,
the appreciation that you have for the like work-life balance is incredible, especially in like the hustle culture that we have nowadays. But then also that gives the opportunity to your staff and everyone that comes in here the ability to also find that balance, and then in turn just kind of makes the world a happier place. Like I don't think I have seen a single person upset in the past days that we've been here. Like, I mean, everyone has highs and lows.
Definitely, and we're not like, and I wouldn't want to betray, because I would never say that, but it's good to hear that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to portray who we are or what we are, or you know, anything like that, right? I just, you know, I'd like people to come to their own conclusion on that sort of thing, right? And I think that's important as well. You know, like, I didn't just like come into working in the restaurant industry and say, oh yeah, like I'm just going to work 5 days a week and we're going to be open this many days and it's going to work and whatever. Like, no, I've tried other things. I've worked those hours. I've worked free hours for other people. I've been the other person, right? So it's about, it's just about trying to make those little bits of change that you can control, right? Like, you know, and that's just it. Like, you don't always win either way, but it's just about trying to figure that out, I guess, and to maybe say, you know what, that's not going to work, or I'm going to do it this way, right? Like, people still stop by on Mondays, and it's been since the flood of like I don't even forget when I forget when the natural disasters happened around here. I think it was like 2018 or something, I don't know, right? But we used to be open 6 days a week and 7 until 8 p.m. and it was just like, you know what, let's put the brakes on all that. Right? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's our, you know, when you run, especially when you run a business with your partner, you know, that's where you really learn that, like, what's going to work. And like, you know, luckily we're at a point now where my wife is really involved with a totally different job and just comes in here, like, you know, when we really need her and to do the payroll and do the books, right? She works at Mark Amy, which is an Indigenous treatment center out in Anzac. So she does the cultural programming like out there and stuff, and it's just a really, you know, not like letting her do that, but like having her have that time and space to do something that's really important to her as well, and not just like, no, we need to just do this. It's been really eye-opening to myself and, you know, to us as partners and as humans and parents, right? Because running a business together and raising a family and going through that whole we had our daughter during the fire in Calgary. We had You know, we had a lot of things happening up here as well, like with a lot of different things through COVID and the flood, and you know, yeah. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot as people to take in as well, and it's just been a lot of learning and growth, and you know, trying to impart that onto the people that we work with in our community to say, you know, Fort McMurray is a real like work hard town, right? And it's like we just try and kind of say, yeah, we can work hard, but we're gonna work hard within our boundaries, and you know, still do what we're doing, but okay, chill out, everybody.
Can you speak a bit, obviously only to the extent that you're comfortable, just about what the experience was like for you growing up in Fort McMurray and then going through like the fire and the flood and being a business owner in that same situation and COVID and...
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, growing up here was pretty cool. Like it was good for me, I thought. It's a little different because we were kind of restricted in the cultures. Like I come from a mixed race background, right? So it was kind of different for me having like a black and white parent here, because there wasn't really that many interracial couples in town when I was growing up. So I mean, like, that's something that, you know, people of all sorts can relate to, I guess, right? But also wasn't like, it wasn't like a hateful, weird place. It was just weird because I was, you know, it's just kind of weird when you go through that, right? Yeah, and I don't think that it, you know, was it negative? No. Was it all positive all the time? Maybe not. But I mean, it also set the path for who I am and the way that my life has turned out and the different things that I had to do, right? Like, as time progressed, like we kind of mentioned earlier, a lot of different people came to Fort McMurray, and like, you know, a lot of different cultures and a lot of different people, and I got to learn a lot more about that. And, you know, like, thankfully I have a really, you know, some great family and support system, and, you know, like, I know where I come from, and I know, you know, I'm really proud of who I am, so I never really questioned that, right? So, you know, I think it's also why I'm really adamant about doing all the things I do, and, you know, going out and volunteering for community stuff, so that there's good representation of what we really are here, and like who makes up the real community, right? I think we see that a lot more now and in everywhere in society, right? Because we've had some real, you know, pinnacle moments of like, who are we as people and what do we look at in media and representation, right? So, I mean, yeah, it was really good. Growing up and everything, it was really cool. I love the woods. I love nature. I love the city here. It's a perfect city for a person like me. I run hot all the time, so I love wintertime because I can go out for a walk and not sweat, right? So yeah, it's just really great. I spent 2 years in Calgary doing some culinary and working at the hotel there, and it was really great down there too. I really enjoy lots of places, but I think one thing that's really important to me personally is like having roots in your community. Because I didn't really have that growing up with my parents. You know, my dad is from Cardiff, Wales, and my mom is from Southern Ontario and like Kitchener-Waterloo area. So we weren't from here. So I think one thing that was really important for me is kind of coming back and staying here. And, you know, about the fire, one of the worst things about the fire was the fact that my daughter was born in Calgary, because I really wanted to have my daughter here, because it would have been a second generation of Erskines in the same town. But, like, you know, my daughter's still from here. You know, she knows that, right? Like, and, you know, of course we can't petition the government to change her birth certificate because that's kind of illegal. But, you know, like, in our hearts, you know, like, our daughter was born here, right? Like, you know, but I mean, yeah, to talk about the fire and flood and things like that, I mean, I think our story has been shared a lot in many different ways about how that affected the community and what that did. You know, of course, like, oil prices are always up and down. That's just something that growing up here, I know about. I'm used to that. That's not something that's really scares me ever. You know, I'm comfortable in the community that we build and in, you know, and in the facts of, like, you know, where we're headed as a society. I think that, you know, climate change is a real fact, and, you know, looking at what we do after fossil fuels is, of course, something that needs to be considered. Are we moving away from oil and gas tomorrow? No. Does Fort McMurray have an important part to play in the long game of Canada's economic and environmental future? Of course. Are the powers that be in industry and in community and in government trying to figure that out and balance that out in a somewhat healthy way? Yeah. I'd like to think so, and I like to hope so. But I think that one thing we need to look at is how, in the past 3 years, there's been a lot of environmental things happen that some are regular. I mean, yes, rivers flood, forests burn. This is a part of like a natural ecosystem. But also we need to look at the long game and we're living for today and planting for tomorrow. So we need to look at how that looks for our children and everyone down the line, right? So I think it's important to look at from both sides, right? Like, yeah, Fort McMurray lives on oil and gas basically, right? But also there's a lot of things that we're trying to do to showcase the other side of that, which is our our tourism for destination tourism, the natural beauty that's around, the partnerships that industry has built with our Indigenous communities around, which has really helped them come back to where maybe they should have been through colonization and bad things that have happened in the past. I think that Fort McMurray is a real interesting case study for how that all can work, and hopefully we can still push that in a good direction for everyone, right? Like, obviously, lots of people in this country aren't the people who were here first, and I think that we never need to lose sight of that. But I think that in the last years, we've really tried and supported that voice of those people up here, and I think that a lot of the nations up here will have two sides to the coin to say in their own words for that. For sure. I think that's obviously the fire and flood really sucked, but we were here, we got open as soon as we could, and we had really great support from the community, and luckily our building wasn't ever damaged in any of those. So it was pretty much like clean up and get going for us. So we're really lucky in that, and lots of businesses lost everything, and we are one of the ones who pretty much had to clean up and get moving, pretty much was our thing through all that. So yeah, we've been really lucky.
Absolutely. And so, speaking more to the cafe and its progress since opening in 1996, I do believe you said. Where do you see it going in, let's say, the next 5 years?
I don't know. Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's an old house. Is it here in 5 years? I think so. I hope so. But I mean, we never know. We've got really good landlords. I have a great relationship with them. Who knows? Mitchell's has had a great run, and I think that run can continue for however long it sees fit. I mean, no one can predict the future. But I mean, I'm still really young. Yeah.
And if you could open a Mitchell's Cafe anywhere in the world?
Oh, here. Yeah, there's only one, to me, there's only one Mitchell's Cafe. That's the thing. That's what makes it special, right? If we had to move, would we keep the name? Probably. Yeah, but I think that Mitchell's is a Fort McMurray thing, and I think that some things are special in that sense. I have no real desire to see Mitchell's anywhere else. I love going to other places, right? We love traveling. I think one of the greatest things is traveling in Canada, right? Because we have a lot of diverse landscapes and communities and lots of cool stuff to see. I'm lucky enough that, I've got to see a fair bit of the world, but I've got to see a lot of Canada too, and I really enjoy it. We're really lucky, right? I haven't been up north to the Northwest Territories, Yukon, Nunavut yet, but I can't wait till I get to go up there one summer because I really want to see it. But as far as Mitchell's opening somewhere else, I don't think that's something possible. I think Mitchell's is a Fort McMurray thing. I think that it sometimes is best to keep special things special. Yeah.
100%. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
And so my last question here for you.
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you received throughout your life?
Wow.
No pressure with the question. We've had all sorts of answers.
Holy. Yeah, I'll have to go with a Bob Marley quote, and that would be money can't buy life. So you have to really, I think there was a point in time where I was in a pursuit of doing well as a business person and as a person by doing well monetarily and by capital gains. And I think that I've really, in the past few years or several years, had a great opportunity to kind of shift that mindset to where it's the things that are important aren't monetarily gained. and can be gained through other things, like by community, by how you treat other people, and by the love that you have with your family and those close to you. So yeah, that would be my best quote. Kind of corny, but whatever.
Not corny at
Yeah.
all. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And actually, sorry, this will be my last question.
Oh, no,
Is
you
there...
lost me on the last one.
No, you're tapping out.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to say about the cafe, about yourself, about Fort McMurray?
No, I think we covered basically all of it. I know, like, I appreciate you guys coming up here to do this, and like your time as well. But yeah, like, I think that, I guess it would be like, don't, and the same for any other place is like, don't judge a place before you've been there, or, take from somewhere what you will, but like, everyone in Fort McMurray or everyone anywhere could judge any community or any person by one single thing or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's a proper way to go about your business. I think that everywhere you go is special in some way, and everyone is special in some way. So it's like, just can the labels and just kind of let people be their own. As long as they're not being like hateful and negative, then I think there's space for everything and everyone. Yeah.
And then, sorry, this will be the last thing. Do you want to let everyone know what days you're open and what times you're open?
Yeah, so we're open Tuesday to Saturday. On Tuesdays to Fridays, we're 9 to 3, and then Saturdays we sleep in a little bit because it's Saturday, and we're open 10 to 3 on Saturdays. Okay. Yeah, and then sometimes we'll be closed on the, if it's a long weekend, we either take the Saturday or take the Monday, or if we're super tired, we take like the Friday and Saturday. But yeah, we post our stuff, and if you drive by and there's no cars and it looks closed, chances are we're closed.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Hello everyone, welcome back. We just finished up at Mitchell's Cafe. We got a whole bunch of food, so we are going to show it to you and try it out for ourselves because everyone says that it's absolutely delicious and it looks like it. So I'll start with my blackberry lemonade.
I got a hibiscus raspberry. Sorry, I have a hibiscus raspberry lemonade. That's a loud car. Then I got a cheesecake.
I got carrot cake.
We got so much.
And an apple fritter.
And then I got potato salad.
And then we got a very veggie sandwich.
Yep.
Which I'll show you in a moment.
And then we got a pesto chicken wrap. Wow.
Ooh. How do you feel about being eaten?
It's excited.
So yeah, I'm gonna try this blackberry lemonade. I've never had blackberry lemonade before. I've had multiple different versions of lemonade, but never blackberry. Ooh, crisp, refreshing, very sweet though. But I love sweet, so I'm here for it.
That's really good.
Now, there's a bug. Can you get the bug off of me? Gotta love nature.
Sorry, honey, I didn't mean to look like that, but gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm also the biggest fan of sprouts, and they put sprouts on everything. So I'm
ever had a sprout, or maybe like one time, but I don't think I eat sprouts a lot.
They're like a staple in my house. Love them. Excuse me, Fly, could you maybe go?
Okay, so let's talk to you about the pesto chicken wrap. Oh!
That looks good.
It looks so delicious. We should have taken
photos.
Yeah, we should actually with your phone. Yeah. So the pesto chicken wrap, I don't totally remember what it has on it. Chicken, lettuce, sprouts, cheese, bacon. It looks delicious.
Not sun-dried tomatoes. There's some bacon. I don't know if you said bacon. Yeah, it looks great.
Absolutely delicious. So we will try that.
Hold up your...
Are you taking a video or a picture?
Picture.
Sorry, everyone. You're seeing the behind the scenes of the work that we do. Okay, anyway, while she does that, we finished up at Mitchell's Cafe. Everyone was so nice. It's kind of loud. We're outside. We're outside of Mitchell's Cafe right now. Everyone was so nice. It's so cool. I didn't know there's so much more history than I thought with it having been opened in 1996. And then Owen and his wife Joelle bought it in 2000.
I think he said 7.
I was going to say 2006, but you're probably right. 2007-ish.
There's been a lot of years thrown at us.
A lot of years, a lot of names. We're doing our best. We're doing what we can with what we have. But yeah, it's like a definite gem here, I find. I mean, we've only been here for a couple days. I've never been to Fort McMurray before, but it's been a really positive experience. Everyone's been really nice. Yeah. This place I could definitely see being like a staple.
100%.
I've take photos.
Yeah, go ahead. I've been to Fort Mac before. Sorry, my case is just falling off. There you go. Multiple times. I've never been here once. I definitely will be coming back. My dad always comes here for work, and so I took a menu so he can try this stuff because there's like soup, salad, sandwiches, potato salad. There's usually pasta salad, but I guess it's like a hit and it's all gone. Any type of sandwich you can think of. You can like customize your sandwich if you don't want something. If they have something that's not on the sandwich, you can put it on. Really cool. Their drink specials or like their drink menus, insane. I'm a big like lemonade fan, and I try almost any type of lemonade. So they have a lot of lemonades. They have Italian sodas. No, that's fine. You look great. They're fresh baked goods too. Like everything is just so amazing. We needed to stop ourselves. We're coming back tomorrow morning. Full disclosure, we're coming back tomorrow morning for breakfast before we leave back to Edmonton. So, yeah. It's a great place, definitely. Oops. Okay, let's... 6 minutes in and we're finally trying. Okay. Okay.
Cheers.
I don't want to camera. I just got Sprout, and that was delicious.
I got a little bit of everything, and that was delicious. I'm a big chicken wrap girly. Big fan of chicken and chicken wraps. You can't see Rochelle's face because she's hiding, but she looks like she just enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. It's very yummy. I feel like, I don't know, when things are made with love, I feel like you can just tell. And the vibes that Mitchell's gives off is that things are made with love. And like everything, like they try to keep things local, which is really nice. And yeah, that was very yummy. And then we're going to try the Very Veggie, which is a veggie sandwich, on their sunshine bread, which I think we were... Oh, actually here, you can talk about the chicken wrap first.
Oh, no, it was delicious. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Nothing more to say. You can continue.
I think we talked a bit about it yesterday, but I don't know if it was actually, if it ended up in the video. I don't know if I edited it out or not. Mm-hmm. But they have sunshine bread, which you can see. It's like yellow. And the owner, Owen, was telling us that with all the sunshine they get, they harvest it, hide it in the basement, and then use it in their bread, and that's why it is yellow and sunshiny.
Look how pretty it looks with my nails, not the broken one, but...
Pretend the broken one isn't there, and wow, so
we'll
cute.
Edit it back on.
That's very cute.
Okay, ready to try this?
Yeah, let's try the Very Veggie. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So this has like, sorry, you can take a bite. It's like cucumbers, tomatoes, red onions, sprouts, lettuce, cheese, and then it's pesto and guac. You can get either. We got both. So.
Cause go big or go home, you know.
Truthfully.
Okay. I feel like the avocado really adds something. Like that hint of avocado. I'm a big fan. I really, really like that.
I got avocado in my eye. Perfect.
Oh no.
I would move here just for the sandwich. If I'm being so honest. That's delicious. Okay. Love that.
I don't even have anything to say. Oh. Like, everything is just so good. Do we want to try something else?
Yeah, maybe we should try dessert.
Sure.
I don't think you got a fork.
I did not. Thank you.
All right, so now we've moved on to dessert. 2 bites and we're already ready for dessert.
Yes. That looks so good.
I have an apple fritter here, which I love. And Rochelle has a cheesecake.
Which I will show you. So I'm just trying to get photos for my family because my mom loves cheesecake. That's my cheesecake.
Ooh.
Yummy.
Oh. And here's my apple fritter. Thank you.
We saw those. You're gonna see the clips. We saw them making it, and it literally looked so good and smelled so good. So I'm so excited for you.
So excited. All right, let's try the desserts.
Okay. I swear to you, they're not paying us, but that was delicious. Like, cheesecake is already such a beautiful thing. And then when you add...
Cheesecake really just speaks to me in general, actually.
And then when you add the whole, like, aspect of... Sorry, there's a truck.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Yeah. Of, like, it being homemade, like, freshly made, like, every week. With, like, the fresh berries on top of it and, like, a little custard, like...
Oh, it's custard.
It is so good. Like, delicious. How was your fritter?
Oh, my gosh, so yummy. I feel like I always say I'm a big whatever girly, but I'm a big apple fritter girly. I love donuts. I love apples. I love everything. What can I say? I just love food. So delicious. And, like, it's crazy because in the behind the scenes we saw them making that, like, with the chopped up apples, and it's all real stuff, which I don't know. Maybe it's because now I know that, and so my brain is like, it tastes a million times better because you know this information. But I don't think so. Like, it's light. I want to say refreshing, but refreshing isn't the right word. Like, my lemonade, that's refreshing because it's a beverage, but, like, I don't know what to say. Like,
I know what you mean.
It makes me feel lighter even though I'm eating. I don't know. I probably sound so stupid, but...
No, that makes sense, because it's not like a fast food place. You kind of eat it and you feel, like, greasy, or you go, like, out to, like, a chain restaurant and you, like, eat it and you're like, okay, this is kind of fresh, but it's not, like, the best. But here, even though there's, like, just loads of bread, it's good. Like, you do feel, like, light afterwards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's, like, that natural aspect, I guess, of, like, real ingredients, real people making your food, like, genuine care and time. And, like, obviously it takes a lot of time and it's probably more expensive to use fresh stuff and less convenient because frozen things last longer. But the freshness is really... I see why people keep coming back. Everyone was talking about why they keep coming back, and after trying the, like, 3 bites that I've just tried...
No, 100%.
Definitely see it. And I still have carrot cake for later, so...
I know. Oof.
And
we're gonna have a fun night tonight.
We are.
Potato salad, but I don't have another fork, so we're not gonna eat that right now. Sorry, guys. That's a secret. You're gonna need to come and try it yourself.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 recommended. Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, just actually thank you for the people at Mitchell's Cafe, because you guys were all so nice and so, like, welcoming. Like, literally every single one of you. The customers too. We've had, like, multiple interactions where customers were, like, super nice to us, and we're like, you are so sweet. Like, you don't have to be. Obviously, it's, like, nice to be kind, but, like, you don't have to be. But yeah, it's a really nice place. I think it attracts really nice people, and I think customers like it because it's such a happy, upbeat place. Even when you walk in, like, the music, all the people there, like, there's just people from different walks of life, like Owen was saying. So yeah, I think you should definitely come and check this out if you're ever in Fort Mac or by Fort Mac. I know I'm going to be spreading the word in Edmonton, especially to people who travel here often. So yeah.
Yeah, I just want to touch on the customers again, because there were... I mean, we've been to other places before, obviously, but this was my first correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it's happened before a lot and I just kind of missed it. But this was the first experience I've had where customers were like really engaged with what we were doing and like asking we didn't record all of it, but there were times when customers were asking us questions of like, oh, what are you doing here? What's happening? Like, and I think that just goes to show like the community that Mitchell's Cafe has built, because people are paying attention to the people that walk in and out of the door, and like they're paying attention to the staff and what's happening and the questions being asked and all that sort of thing. So it's been, for me, a very positive experience. Thank you to Mitchell's Cafe, to Fort McMurray for having us. Excuse me. It's been so much fun. I'm so happy and excited to finish eating. And, oh, there was something on the camera. I thought I had something on my face. I was like, she didn't tell me I had something on my
staring at you all the time.
I mean, who wouldn't be? I'm just kidding. Now I'm just rambling, but very positive
experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, apparently I can't talk now. Yeah, good energy. I feel... I'm so sorry. I should have turned off my phone. It feels comfortable, safe. You know, it's just, it kind of reminds me of like going to grandma's house. Like the saying, like, oh, we're going to grandma's house.
Exactly.
You know?
I get it. Yeah.
Like just that vibe of like, oh, we're going. And then you get like amazing home cooked food. That is personally how I would market it, because that's the vibe that it gives me. But yeah, it's been awesome. So thank you.
Yeah. This is making me really excited to go to Grand Prairie. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's been a good trip. Everyone here is super nice. Ryan from Angel Flight, he was amazing. Taught us so much about planes. I literally learned so much from him. I'm like, this is insane. Wasn't expecting that. But it was great. And yeah, it's been a great overall experience here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fort Mac has been awesome. And touching on Ryan and Angel Flight, it's an amazing organization, amazing opportunity for people that we actually were talking to people here about at Mitchell's Cafe, just kind of spreading the word of local businesses, because that's what a lot of them have been about, of, you know, spreading the word, getting it out there, because that's what all organizations want. But yeah, Ryan was amazing. Owen's been amazing. Yeah, Fort Mac has been very kind to us. So thank you, Fort Mac.
Yeah.